sometimes experiences like this will just make you feel like, oh, can I just stay strong working in the company for like 6 weeks or 2 months before I become a full staff? But anyway, since that's not possible, let's just talk about it. Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I'm so excited about this video and it's so good to see you once again. So how are you? Anyways, as you can see from the title, today's video is so serious, right? And if you have worked with a boss that is far from being good or in a toxic environment, you should be able to relate more to what I'll be saying. And if you have not, please watch this video so you don't experience this same thing that I've experienced, right? Because I'll be sharing how you can identify if a work environment is actually toxic. So stay tuned till the end of this video, right? If you have not subscribed, what are you waiting for? All right, so subscribe and join this amazing growing family. Let's just get straight into this gist, right? You already know that my gist are premium, relatable, valuable, and authentic, right? So sometimes ago, I got this job with somebody. Let's just say the name of the company or the name of the boss is, let's say Mr. S. Right, so I got this job with Mr. S, and like every other normal person, I was excited, answered prayers. I, went ahead, shared the good news with friends and family. I updated my LinkedIn profile. I'd gotten a new job, a good job at that, and it felt like, oh, this was everything, right? And for someone like me who is very excited about learning, about putting my best to whatever I do, and contributing to the success of any organization or anybody I, come in contact with, I was really excited and I was determined to put in my best to this job, right? And it was going smoothly until I started observing like some things, right? So first off, it was always, constant criticism, like you're not good enough. Like, okay, I just started this job. Let me just settle into it, and it was looking like, oh, like this boss is not just patient, and Mr. S would just always insult, criticize. I'm not talking positive criticism now. I'm talking negative criticism that makes you feel bad. So I'll always take this as a feedback and start working on myself to say, okay, let me improve. And I started, trying to get better, learn, do more and more and more. But it felt like the more I was trying, the more I was getting worse in the, sight of Mr. S, right? But I continued again with the mindset to get better and, understand Mr. S more and the organization as a whole and put in my best. But see, let me tell you something. I think the first thing I've come to realize is that if you're working with someone or if you're in an environment where you're always getting constant negative criticism that makes you question your worth, then it is not a good place to be. Because what happens over time is that you lose your confidence, you lose your self-esteem, you lose your boldness, and you begin to feel like, oh, you don't even know anything at all, right? Because that was the case for me. I started feeling so bad that, oh, after putting a lot of effort into this work, this is what I get. Not even a good job, but that's a different thing. But like, what the hell? What's this? What's that? And very, very negative, bad words. And the crazy part is that you're even afraid to speak up or ask for clarity, right? You're not even able to ask questions because you don't know what negativity you would get. And this continued for me over time. Now, before I go to the next point, let me just tell you what you can do if this particular one is your experience, right? The first thing is you can take it upon yourself to document your wins. That was the mistake that I made. So if, for example, you have put in a lot of effort to do something and you know that you did it well, but it was not acknowledged by your boss or your supervisor, just take it down in your journal. Journal your own win by yourself. So keep track of, even if it's tasks that you have completed or, courses that you have completed or efforts that you have put into that work, keep track of it by yourself. And another thing that you can do, which I did at some point, was to reaffirm myself, right? So always reaffirm yourself. Tell yourself, of course, you got this job because you are competent, because the company perceived you as, valuable, as somebody that is competent to an extent. So I started reaffirming myself. So I would say things like, oh, Moyolua, you are skilled, you are valuable, you are the value, right? They are not just getting to see it, but you are valuable, you have it inside of you. Just keep pushing. I would just encourage myself. Sometimes I would sing praises to God and he would remind me of how valuable I was, right? Now, the second trait of a toxic environment, right, which I experienced, was unhealthy work-life balance. So when a company is requesting like you work all through 24 hours, morning, afternoon, night, there's no closing time, you're working in the midnight, you're working during the weekends, you're working on public holidays, you are requested to work and always work. Red flag. In fact, red banner, red canopy. That's a very huge red flag. In my case, I didn't see it as a red flag because I was just interested in building my skill. I just wanted to work. So I was seeing it as, oh, they want me to keep working because what I'm doing is good. whereas I was always met with negativities, but I kept on doing it just to please them. That's not a good way to live, honestly, because if you're doing a job that is requesting your life, because that's pretty much what it is not worth it, right? Because you start feeling bad when you are offline, when you're not working, you start getting scared. Hey, what has gone wrong? What has this? What has that? That's a very, very bad thing to do. So what you can do in that situation, matter of fact, I didn't really do that. What you can do is, if you have an HR, speak to the HR about it. Of course, respectfully go through your JD and let them know the boundaries you already, stepping, right? So just speak to the HR in a respectful manner and let them know that you need your personal time. Now, another thing that you should do, which is very important, I didn't have the boldness to do it, right? And it robbed me of a lot of things, is that you set personal silent times for yourself. You as an individual, you should be able to give yourself, time to enjoy your life. Right? Just put your phone off, put data off, log off work, shut down your laptop and all that. I wasn't doing that because I was always working. I think the only time I was not working was when I was in church, or when eventually I doze off on my laptop because I was always working. It wasn't a good way to live, right? So if you are currently living like that, please stop it. Like, stop it for your own health, for your mental health as well. Stop it, please. Learn to respect yourself by setting boundaries and having alone times, with friends, with family, just to enjoy your life outside of work. Then another thing I think you can do is to review from time to time how well you are performing. Like, what I mean is, if you are doing all that is required of you and you know that you have completed your tasks, you have checked through everything you're supposed to do, you have done it, rest. Take your break, your lunch break, every other breaks in between. Rest, take it, or else you will experience burnout and even get frustrated as well, right? So if all of this is what you experienced, I've told you what to do. Go ahead now, go and do it. So the third major thing I experienced was that I began to walk on eggshells. Now, this one is very crazy because you are always anxious, you're always scared, you're always fearful. Like, you don't know what to expect. You can't speak up, you can't talk, you can't share your knowledge, you can't do anything. Do you guys know what even happened to me? I stopped posting online. I stopped, my personal branding, whole thing. I stopped doing YouTube. I stopped all of that. Why? Because my boss talked down on everything. My boss made me feel so worthless, like I didn't have anything. So that got into me, and then I just felt like, that's true. Like, what do you have? What do you know? After all, everything you're doing is not accepted. So what are you talking about? What are you doing online? And I just stopped it, right? So everything I was doing was just to please them, and at the same time I was always scared and anxious. Like, is that how to live? So if you are currently experiencing such, I get how you are feeling, and it can be really crazy. It's not a good place to be. Please and please do the following. Number one, like I said before, if your HR is somebody who is seeing through your lens, speak to the person respectfully. They can speak to the management, or if there is somebody in the management that is more approachable, please do so. Another thing you can do is to speak to someone outside work that is approachable, that is mature, that can, give you very great advice, right? My scripture says that in the midst of counsel, there is safety. So seek counsel. Honestly, you can't go wrong with good counsel. Seek counsel. And another thing that I want to say now, this is very important, start planning your exit. See, when it gets to that point where you're always scared, anxious and everything, trust me, the mistake you don't want to make, you will make it. So start planning your exit, start applying, start thinking of how to move away from that job to a better one, honestly, because I think it was at this point that I realized and I started making moves, right? But it's not even good that you get to this point at all. Now, the fourth point, and this one, as a workaholic that I am, this affected me a lot. So when you realize that you are being overused and undervalued, there's a big problem, very big one. So for example, somebody is leaving the organization and you automatically are expected to take on that role without any official, handing over, without any official notes to say, we want you to merge this, spending time, we get someone else. But like, automatically that work is dumped on you and you keep getting tired, busy and all that, overworked. And then you are now undervalued. That's a no-no. But in my own case, it even got to a point where I just knew automatically when somebody was leaving, their role was mine, right? And I didn't have the boldness to do anything because I was trying to please them. And that was my way of pleasing them, just overworking myself, constantly working, But here is one thing I would advise you do. And I actually didn't do it, right? I really wish I did, but I didn't. So it's to seek clarity. So if you're able to speak to the HR or someone in the management or even that boss, right? It's some step of boldness. And this is why I'm actually doing this video, so that you can summon that courage and know what to do, right? So I think you should speak to the management to clarify things. Ask them to know for how long you are going to be stepping into that role. If it's your new role, are they going to review your salary or your remuneration, and ask, like, what are you expected to do? Are they looking to hire someone soon? Ask for all of that so that you don't get overworked, because at the end of the day, they'll still let you know that you are not indispensable and they can remove you at any time, right? Because in my own case, I was made to see like, oh, the company was doing me a favor. I was taking all these roles so that they could help me on my skills, all of those things, which is not correct, right? So take out time to audit your work and then ask for clarity, actually renegotiate with the management, with the boss. And another very important thing, start dusting your CV, start dusting your LinkedIn, start putting yourself, like positioning yourself well for opportunities, right? And start seeking opportunities, actually, because you can't stay in this kind of a place for a long time. Honestly, I didn't stay there for long because I got to a point where I was done. Now, this final point is when it has gotten to the peak, like uttermost peak. And I'm glad I didn't even get to this point, right? And that is the fifth one, which is when your health is already at risk. When you are started to experience health issues because you are constantly overworking your brain, yourself, right? So this one is very crazy because, trust me, no organization is your family or your friend. They do not care as much as we think, because organizations can wake up at any time and just, fling you out, and you have just wasted all your time managing toxicity that you could have left. So you get to a point where your hospital visits have become very frequent. You now get angry at the slightest thing. You are now depressed, frustrated, always anxious. Like all of these things, your mental health, even your physical health is no longer in alignment with what it should be. Then there's a problem. Like you're already at the peak of it. There is already a problem. So at this point, the best thing is for you to take a break, take a rest, like know that you are done and leave. Speak to a therapist, speak to somebody. You should actually undergo therapy, because what you have just gone through is a lot. Now, the truth of the matter is leaving is actually not easy, right? And how did I find that courage? I just knew that I was done. There was a time I was really praying to God about it, speaking to myself, because I stopped posting online. I stopped being me. I lost my identity, my self-esteem, my confidence. Like I could not even speak to anybody about what I knew, because I felt like what I knew was nothing, because this is what I have been constantly told. I didn't have an excellent spirit. I wasn't good at what I was doing. All of those negative words got to me, and I just knew like I was done. I don't even know how to explain it. Like I was done, and I just started to apply, right? Fun fact, it didn't even take long for me to get a better opportunity, and I'm so grateful to God for that. So this is your push, this is your motivation, this is your courage. If you're experiencing something similar, please see me as your encouragement to leave. Take a leave, actually, because it's not going to help you. You're going to lose your self-worth, you lose your confidence, you actually not gain as much as you should gain in a sane environment, right? And the funny thing that now happened to me was I now got a job in a better organization, and the boss praised me for the first time, like, oh, this is great, what you did was good. Oh my God, it felt like I had won a jackpot. Like, what? Me good? Like, because I've not heard it in a long time, right? And I think I even shed a tear that day, like, oh wow, so I'm actually still competent, and that is just to let you see how much that toxicity had eating into me, like deep. So please, it might take a while for you to get used to a sane environment again, and regain yourself, but with time you will, and then you'll be fine. Just ensure that you're actually doing the work. You are putting in your effort, you are doing your own bit, like my colleague then would normally say. So just ensure that no matter what happens, right, you have done your part. It will be said of you that none of your job is left undone, right? So I hope you found this video helpful. Let me know. I said it would be interesting. I'm sure you really enjoyed it. So please go ahead to give this video a thumbs up. Comment below. Let me know what stood out to you in this video. Share your experiences, please. If you have also experienced something similar, how did you overcome, working in a toxic environment? Please share in the comment. I would love to read from you. And then go ahead to share this video with your network and everybody that needs to see it. Everyone that needs to take that bold step to leave their toxic work environment. So thank you so much for watching. I love you. Mwah. Bye.